40 acres as a
I can't watch
corporation.
him do his
to
little.
go.
Yeah,
That just isn't there.
Just-
But yeah, there's thousands of people that could vote.
So if you, even if you had two farms in your name, you only still vote once.
Right, but if you had a farm and then you own
You had
it
another one
as a
that's in the park.
corporation or an LLC. That's my understanding anyway,
And that makes sense.
but we don't have anybody voting. I didn't even vote, and I could have, but
Is there a way we can get around that?
not unless the legislation changes. It's in the code section that we require.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. We want to join me in pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First, I'm looking for an approval of the agenda. We are going to add an item to item number 1, discussion on a stair chair. Otherwise, I think everything looks good.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of stair chair on item number 1.
I will second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes from January 10th.
I read through the minutes. I thought they were
Sure.
very accurate for what that whole thing was. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for January 10th.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 1, review and approve new ambulance quotes. Good morning.
Morning. We're due for a new ambulance fiscal year 23. Being proactive this time, lead times generally 4 to 6 months. This time around it's 11 to 14. I put a committee together back in November to research and get pricing. We got 3 bids, and out of the 3 bids, we felt as though Feld Fire was the cheapest of the bids and but better quality and the better option out of the 3. The Danco, we had some issues getting the bids on with that one, so we kind of threw that one out right away, and it's also the most expensive. The Clunkies is a very good ambulance, but a little bit more expensive Feld, and it's also out of town. And that purchase stayed local, and it's the least priced ambulance. We're suggesting going with Feld Fire.
So are these comparables, apples to apples? for
Yes,
you all?
they are. Very much. We went through, that committee went through this with a fine toothbrush and got everything ironed out to where they were apples to apples.
So the felt one was 208.
So the base price is with power cot and the power load is $247,236. We always get a monitor with our new ambulance, and that was $34,311 through Stryker. And this time around, with some future options, the stair chair, I would like to include that as well. Decals has been standard around $2,500 to $2,600, then radio installation as well.
So the DACO was, this 209 does not include that.
That one, there were some items that they did not have on there. If you see at the top with the 214,060, that's the most accurate price.
But when you look at felt, and I'm just making sure that the felt does include these other issues, which I assume DACO did not include that.
They did not, it doesn't have the monitor and stuff in it.
That's what I'm getting
Yeah,
at. So when you add everything to comparables, that's where you.
the base price is basically like the 214 and the 208 that you go off of, and then the monitor and cot stuff is all separate. So we order that from a separate entity. As far as belts go too, they do have inspection trips in there for $2,000. We don't necessarily have to do that. And if we don't, they will subtract that from the overall cost.
And if I'm reading this correctly, Jamie, since 2019, it went up 12%, the ambulance itself, and then after January 30th, it goes up an additional 10%.
Right, so the price is good basically till January 30th. The stuff, January 30th of this year. So the striker stuff, they were gonna do a price increase on the 8th of January. They locked in our prices till the end of the month. It's just, and we can order the striker stuff now and have it set for delivery in August, and then we pay for it in August.
Where's our budget on this? You know, have we been putting enough money away for this?
So what we found is that there was some money used from this budget to pay for part of the last ambulance, so we're behind. If you figure in how it's all calculated out, it's $97,000 a year. Over that 3 years is 291,000 is where we should be at. We're currently at 171,687, but we have not put fiscal year 22 in there yet. So we're gonna be at 268,687 after the fiscal year 22.
And you've got about 14 months before it gets you.
Right, so, and Courtney and I talked about it, and we can use part of fiscal year 23, and then catch up after the fact so if the 291 was in there like it should be with the funding for it, what was put back, we're under budget for what we have actually allotted for it. It's just, it was used, part of it was used on the last ambulance, so that's why we're under budget right now, or over budget for what we have in the account.
So this felt that 247, that does not include the monitor. does it?
No, that's bought from a separate entity. And that's why I added it in on the other side of this.
So in essence, if you're looking at that 247 compared to what figures you got here last year, the actual prices haven't gone up then.
If you figure in the base
Oh.
price, so this has got the stair chair and stuff in it, so that adds, so it throws it off a little bit. But if I use the base prices between the 2 years, that's about a 12% increase,
Okay,
or yeah,
all
12%.
right, I see that now that you got.
And like I said, they're going up 10% on the
I just want to make
30th.
sure we're comparing apples to apples.
Right.
Any of these add-ons, Jamie, are any of these COVID driven?
Not necessarily, no. Basically what we've done is we've taken our most recent ambulance and we've critiqued it, added some things that we think that are going to be very beneficial for patient care. Some of those things could be considered maybe COVID related or better for COVID, but it would be something that we would do regardless if COVID was present or not. We basically tried to strip it down to where we just changed the stuff that were, as far as add-ons go, like the lights, for instance, we paid extra, we wanted to pay for extra for lights, but they have a lifetime warranty where we're replacing lights all the time and they're fairly expensive because of rocks or just wear, So instead of having that cost later, we pay a little bit more upfront and then the lights are replaced forever for the life of the ambulance. And this one, we also did add in like a cattle guard or a bumper. Yeah,
Is this the first one we haven't done put on?
I don't think that's.
I think
all
that'd be
bad.
smart.
yeah.
I don't think
It's
that's all bad.
basically a $2,600 upgrade and you'll go through that in one deer.
Seems like you got a target on those rigs for.
Yeah.
your-
I know Crawford just lost an ambulance to one last week.
I mean,
I thought they only had one ambulance
No, they've got 3 just like we do, but only one
running.
running. Some days they have 2.
Any more questions?
These are all two-wheel drive vehicles.
Correct. We do have one four-wheel drive now, and there's no huge benefit, you know, and basically sometimes with these, with the four-wheel drive, it makes you think you can go places where you shouldn't. So, you know, it's just for the extra price, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you got a lot of weight there.
Right.
Those tandem axles, tandems. I know it's a
They're not-
450. but-
They're not tandem axles, they're duals.
You do, yeah, sorry. They're not-
The last one, yeah, what is that chassis? Is that a Ford?
Yep.
So
So
we
these
haven't
are,
had any issues with those?
no, the only issues is like door seals and door handles and stuff, but we did a little bit of an upgrade on the door handles to alleviate that problem, and they are going to put in double door seals on everything, and they're actually doing that on all of our other ambulances now too. Because we get dust in all the compartments, and we have stuff in there that we don't really want to have dust on, and you'll go down the road, and if you're going down the gravel road, the entire back of the ambulance will fill up with dust, so they're addressing those problems now. I mean, as far, you know, the service side of it, you know, we've had a little bit of an issue with Felds in the past, but they are in agreement to set up like a once or twice a month schedule to come in and fix any problems that we have. And they've been very accommodating in the last few months that I've been director with getting things taken care of.
So you had trouble with the cab of the vehicle itself? With
Just
dust
the door seals on the box. So it's
on the box?
yeah, on
Not
the
on, not on the,
patient care area.
okay.
Yeah, they're single seal. So this is gonna have double seals, so it'll alleviate that.
I
problem.
think
And
that's been an issue for a long time. I remember that one. I was involved with. as a first
Yeah,
responder,
that's the
you
first
get-
time I've heard it though.
No,
You know, you're the first one.
Especially when they get
up.
up, especially when they get older.
Yeah.
And you know, you get out in a rural area, you're on gravel roads a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's not fun sitting back there going down a gravel road when you can hardly see the back of the ambulance.
that's not good.
So,
Stephanie and I met on Monday
Yep.
with Jamie and Kenny and went through all this stuff in detail. And it does make sense, especially if the prices are going up and they did extend it for us.
Just trying to be proactive to get this now, because
Exactly.
like the last one, we were supposed to take delivery in October. We actually didn't get it because of a hurricane until January in Florida, because the boxes are made in Florida. But instead of doing this in June or July like we normally do, we wouldn't get it until the following June or July. So now this way we can still get it on, somewhat close to our regular schedule.
yeah, everything's delayed. I mean,
Yeah,
it comes a
I've
vehicle.
even heard, people that even order pickups and cars, you know, they wait months and months and months
Yeah.
for.
The landfill.
4 years.
Today's my day.
Well, I'm surprised it hasn't gone up more.
Right.
I
I foresee it going up more, but
Yeah, that percentage is high, but I expected higher.
Yeah,
Well, and I agree with you. If we're gonna need one, we need to get it ordered, because we're not gonna, I wouldn't even bet on that time frame you told you.
right, yeah.
Is there one that you're going to be getting rid of?
So generally what we do is we cycle them through and we get rid of one. I'm looking at an option to add another transport ambulance in the county, in another town. I still have to talk to them about that, so, but it's either that or we replace the oldest one that's in the county. I know I was up in Lanesboro the other day, and they're due as well, but they can get, with the number of calls that they have, they can get by with what they have if we decide to add another transport.
But is the one in Lanesboro county owned?
That one is owned by the fire department.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
But for the minimal amount that we actually get back out of these, it would be more of a benefit to give it to them, or you sell it to them, or however we want to go forward with it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Just sell theirs and just let them have a better one.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
Well, I will make a motion that we go ahead and authorized to purchase the ambulance from Felt Fire with the additional equipment that's listed. That's a total of what,
289,848.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Jamie. All right. Zach, you're up.
Did that include that surcharge? Oh,
Thank you all.
thank
you.
Thanks, Danny.
Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Not too bad. Survived the weekend. We fared better than some places did for snow, so I guess you can't complain. Couple things today. First one is the project completion for E46. This is the 3 miles of pavement from Halbert to M68. Got everything taken care of as far as final quantities. The contractor has agreed. So looking to get the final project acceptance taken care of, and then next claims period, we'll work on pay the final retainage that's left, the 3%. So overall, project went well. Really don't have any problems with how it turned out. Any questions on how it
So
turned out?
today you're asking for the 16,800.
Not for the dollars, just for accepting the project, and then when we do claims next period, then we'll pay the retainage of that, so.
Okay.
if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to accept the project.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Now to review limestone quotes.
Yes, I sent proposals out to 6 different, I believe it's 7 different entities. Got 6 responses back for hauling limestone to our Carroll yard. This was 7,000 total tons, and then had kind of a delivery schedule of 3,000 by April 1st, 5 by May 1st, and the full 7 by June 1st. So we're using this current fiscal year's budget for that material. We do have limestone left in our yard, stuff from what we hauled. We didn't use as much this year as we have in the past with the drier conditions, but also want to try to make sure we're ahead of the game. So, but prices have gone up, both in limestone and in the trucking, as you might expect. The low quote was from Tiefenthaler at $17.99. For comparison's sake, I believe we were at $16.50 last year. So it did go up. The rock itself was up at least 50 cents a ton. So, but the balance would be the trucking, obviously. So, but
What size rock is this?
this is 1 inch. This is our normal roadstone that we put on the road.
And how many total tons at the, in there?
7,000.
7,000?
When did you say the last is scheduled to before the end of the year?
June 1st, before the end of the fiscal year is what we're trying to get, basically
All right.
get it hauled in by. So,
So you got 126,000 in the budget then?
yes,
It was 1650 last year.
I believe so.
It's an 8% increase.
7,000 ton.
Correct. I got one of the higher quotes first and thought I was sitting down because start seeing $3.50 increase. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Is this the same hauler as last year?
No, Matt Meister got it last year.
Okay.
The year before that, I think it was Arcadia Limestone. So it's been bouncing around.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seemed like it has in the past done that a little bit, but it seems like those those three are generally the top three, it seems like, so.
With TSL transport is not the. Yeah, group of people. He had it 1 year too, so.
Are we, how many times you say
7,000.
7,000, is that about what we've been doing, or
We-
we got a little
we-
carryover?
We've been doing more than that, but we've been trying to haul our own as well to try to save some dollars. We'll go up to Claire and get some. We hauled, I can't remember what it was last year. I know it was more than 4,000 we've hauled ourselves just to try to save some dollars. And we'll do the same thing with this if the budget allows and see what time allows for what we have. I feel like we need to get some contract hauled in, that way we're not basing all on our schedule, because if we would have a wet spring or something like that, obviously we don't have as much time to be hauling rock at that point in time either, so.
So what do you think you can haul it for? You got that figured out as far as what your cost is?
I haven't penciled it out.
Yeah.
I think we can do it a little bit cheaper than that if we have the time. I think it, well, because it depends on if you figure out our labor and figure all that in, it's probably not a whole lot cheaper than that. But if we have the time where we're not pushing snow or we're not doing other things, and we can dedicate 3 or 4 trucks to haul here and there, then I think it does become a benefit to us. So the biggest thing is we don't know what we're gonna have for time. So that's why it's kind of
And the labor cost is there no matter what you do it.
right. I mean, there's always things you can do, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But what's the hottest burning fire? Where can we have the most benefit, most bang for our buck? So and we have the trucks, so. Like we won't
Do you send these back out, or do you let these guys just figure it out by the newspaper? How far off they were, or
I send the quotes back out to everyone.
back out to the
Yep.
bidding people?
Yep.
This is who got it, and this is the price.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that way we all know.
They all know where it's at.
Okay, very good.
They used to be, they would fax them in or drop them off. I've gotten to the point now where pretty much everybody will do email. So it's really easy. Email them out, and I email the results back out, and
Even better.
pretty simple, so.
Okay, very good. So you need a motion
Yes,
for
please.
this? I'll make a motion to buy this 7,000 ton to be the truck provided by Tiefenthaler Ag and Line
At 17.99.
at $17.99.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Just for one more item, nothing, no action, but
No. Just kidding.
we did get some quotes back on our CMP pipe too, and it was a very significant increase for percentage wise. I mean, we looked at probably a 30 to 35% jump last fall, and we're looking at that same amount now or a little bit more.
So it's gonna be almost double by.
Yeah.
Mid-year.
So, really no way around it. We're not looking to change what we have. Everything's gone up, obviously, as we talked about previously, but it's just something we have to plan for and account for, so.
That's steel pipe. So is there an alternative? We have to.
I haven't looked at price of concrete pipe, but I'm sure
I
that's
was even-
higher,
I was even thinking like
plastic.
PVC.
That's probably even higher, isn't it?
I think it's gone up. How much it's gone up, I don't know. I'm still very leery to go to that for like driveways, because you get people that burn ditches and pretty soon you don't have
Oh,
pipe
yeah.
anymore. So
Have you ever stockpiled it?
I'm CMP. We try to, I mean, we try to get as much as we can, but like what we're ordering now to get kind of fully stocked back up, that's about all we have room for. So this should last us for all this whole construction season. We really don't have a whole lot more room than that. I wish we would have bought more 2 years ago. I mean, we would have been money.
But I mean, some of that PVC's got double wall, and so that's got probably a lot more strength to it.
It does. I mean, there'd be benefits to it. And it's easier to install as well. It's just trying to monitor what we put in and what we have to replace and what that lifespan is going to be based on the situation. So, because once we put in a driveway, it's ours to maintain forever. So.
When does, explain that process, is any time do we bill out for?
So if someone wants a new driveway or wants to extend their driveway, they request that. We go take a look at it. Chris will go take a look at it. And we'll, depending on site distance, utility issues, whatever might be in the way, what can we do, what can't we do? Then he'll give them a ballpark estimate of what that's going to be. And then the property owner is responsible for those costs. If there's one that fails, you know, it rusts out because it's 30 years old or 40 years old or 50 years old, we'll take that into consideration. Then we replace that free of charge. But there's also been ones that have been installed without consent illegally that we've been trying to be very pointed on about. That's number one, it shouldn't be there. Number two, we're not replacing that because we didn't put it in. And we have come across those where it, you know, wasn't like the driveway was widened and it wasn't banded together properly. I mean, it's a big suck hole because someone just butt something up next to it. And then, well, there's a reason why that happened. So
the cost of this new pipe would be passed on every time that we go look at a new one.
Correct,
That cost
correct.
factor will be.
correct. Keep in mind, we use some of this pipe for a crossroad culvert in our own projects as well, maintenance projects, but
I know of one that put in north of Edam on the new pavement. That owner paid for. So,
that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
All right, item number 3, review proposals for recorder/auditor scanning projects. Dalton or Ben, is Ashton trying to zoom in?
I've not seen her yet.
Courtney, if you would like to go ahead and
I'll do
speak.
mine. I can't speak for her, but I will hold mine.
Okay.
So we had heard from several counties that were looking at scanning projects. You could utilize COVID dollars to do these projects because you're keeping people out of your office. They can do it remotely. There's also the added benefit of having those records that are going to be permanent. So you don't have to worry about if something would happen. Fire, water, I'd be more concerned with water, of those being ruined. So that there's that benefit as well. I received, along with the recorder, 2 quotes. One from Arca Search, one from COT. I had them do a quote for me for the auditor's transfer books and the board minutes. Arca did also do the election canvases, but after I saw how many those were, I don't think that's probably necessary to have them do that because I can certainly scan the election register or the election canvases back into the computer, and it wouldn't cost anything. There's just not that much information there. Personally, I liked COT. I liked their program that you search things with. I felt their company's been around for a long time, and he gave a little background as they started doing the actual like transfer books. That's what they used to do back in the day. And as things got more advanced, they kind of advanced their company, and now they do this digital historical records management. A lot of the bigger counties use COT, and I've seen both of the searches from both companies, and I really liked COT's better. I think they have a better product. It was explained to me that ARCA kind of came out and they were doing more libraries and museums, and COT's always done like counties, so they really know what they're doing. I think it'd be a great idea to have our transfer books scannable, searchable online. Now, if you go to search, you basically are going through many books. And it's time consuming. It's time consuming for the office because usually people don't know how to read the books, you know, so we have to show them how to do it. So that takes away from work that they should be doing on other things. So I think there'd be a benefit there if we can direct people towards the website versus them coming in and going through the books. As far as the board minutes go, I think that'd be another benefit too. Now it's really hard to search for things that may have happened 40 years ago. I think if they were scanned, that'd be a lot easier to search for that stuff. And there again, you're protecting historical data and by having it protected from water and fire. My plan would be to continue to do the board minutes like we do because we are required to have them signed by the chair. But we could put the old board minutes, which we have the minutes from the beginning of time up there. They could be put down in the basement somewhere and that would open up that vault area. In the future, when I do get moved to the treasurer space, as been talked about, I'd like the vault in that space to be an election equipment vault. To get my election equipment out of the basement and then utilize the basement for record storage. But I'll only do that if they're scanned, obviously, because the transfer books, every once in a while, we do have somebody come in that wants to look at those. Another nice thing is if the recorder and the auditors are on the same company, like if Ashton would use Cott and I did, it's a really nice feature that they can search in the transfer books, get book and page, and it's very easy to then search for the deeds or whatever on the Cott side. So a lot of counties are doing this. They're using either recovery dollars or COVID money. We do have some COVID money left. We wouldn't have to touch the recovery dollars for this project, but wanted to see you guys to see what the cost was. Obviously, Ashton provided kind of a breakdown of per costs as well. You can see their recorders is quite a bit higher than the auditor, but remember that they have a lot more stuff over there than I do. So a lot more records over there.
So question, when anybody is using the software, can you do the search function, like the Control F or whatever it is, and search for a word?
You can do a word search in the board minutes if they are typed, is my understanding. If they're handwritten, no.
Okay.
Because I mean, the scans are wonderful. They're very clear. It's like you're looking at the page itself, but you can't search for words with the scripted. So I still think it'd be useful.
Yeah, no, I was just curious as far as, and this would be available to anybody if they go on the Carroll County
Yep,
website.
so the other counties that utilize this have links on their page. You
Yep.
can just click on the link and
So that
start
would save
searching.
a lot of traffic perhaps.
yeah, and I'm not exactly sure how the search works for the recorder, but it was explained to me if somebody wanted to look in the transfer book, you know, it searches by either section, township, and range or city subdivision block. So it's pretty easy. Now when people come in, they get a little overwhelmed at the books because, I mean, and a lot of times it's pretty time consuming if you're going, especially if you're going back a long ways. But I think it's important for us to preserve those records because if
Well,
something
the
would happen
records
to them,
and-
you can never get them back.
Would the originals then be destroyed?
No.
They would go off-site somewhere?
Well, I plan on moving them into the space that my equipment's in now.
But could it
In the basement.
potentially go off?
Sure, sure.
That's my question.
You
Does the
found a
code
space.
allow that?
You can have them wherever you wanted to. Destroy it, no. You know, some people have talked about like their historical, like museums and stuff will take it, but I know from speaking with Barb, they don't have a lot of room over there, so I don't think they're gonna want all those books over there, but I would have room in the basement to move that stuff down there after I move my equipment out.
So I see, according to the email I got from Ashton's, she's talking about, is there a difference between what COD is doing only partial of hers and the other one is doing all of it?
That's my understanding just by looking at the quote. She has that kind of an Excel spreadsheet which says includes entire collection 50 to 70%. ARCA's 100%.
So why the difference there?
I can't answer that. I
And
don't
I,
know.
that was one of my questions for her. And the other thing is why up at COT, they've got initial cost and then ARCA's got two different costs. They got initial cost and separate scanning cost.
Yeah, and you asked me about that on Friday, and
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Personally, I think, from our needs assessment that we did at the court office, it shows that we need, we need to do something about storage of documents. And I think this is one place that we could start doing this with. I think it's good that it makes it more accessible to the public. And the other thing is we have the ability right now to pay for it with COVID dollars because it is part of COVID to make stuff go online. And Ashton has some of hers in the records, right?
She's
Records
got
fund?
some funding in that area. I mentioned that to her and she talked about possibly using that for the remaining part of the project, because they only quoted the 50 to 70%. She talked about maybe utilizing that down the road for future. I don't know. You have to talk to her about that, or if she's got other projects she's looking at. I'm not sure. On the auditor side, if we would do the transfer books, that'd be a one-time scan because we don't do manual transfer books anymore. We do through our software. So once they do that, they're never going to have to come back and do it again. Board minutes, they will, but the board minutes that we do, the current ones are online. Like we put those on the website. So you'd have to just set it up. I don't know if you'd want to do it every 3 years, every 5 years, where they would come in and scan more current stuff. But I think those fees would be pretty minimal.
I think we've got an example there now behind us.
So is that 170 a month always then? So every 5 years when they did a new upload of stored documents, there'll be a different fee.
I'm not exactly sure. We talked a little bit about that, but
That's an example, one that cannot be digitalized because of the writing. I assume.
are you talking about searching? Like you can't search it because it's written?
You're right.
Yeah, you wouldn't search those anyway. You'd have to have some information in order to search that, either by name, and it'll search this by name. She had Miller in there, you can see Miller.
Yeah, so this is like the index, basically. So you search the index, you find who you're looking for, and then it tells you the section and page, if you look on the right there. And then you go and you find it that way, my understanding.
I was speaking to the board minutes.
Right.
It's a little different.
All right, Courtney.
Dalton, do you see any, while you're on here, do you see any conflicts with current software we're using, anything that we're using?
No, honestly, I was trying to get caught in like a couple of years ago when I first started. I've always liked their product.
And this search you have now, is this ARPA or is this COT?
We're looking at COT right now. This is Johnson County. This is just searching some affidavits and stuff.
My quote is good too, because he was actually did mine a lot earlier than he did Ashton's, so my quote's good through the 24th.
January.
Yeah, but obviously, if we want to wait, I think it's important that we try to use the same company for my records and the recorders, just especially for the transfer books part.
Consistency,
Well-
and we understand what they're doing and they understand what we're doing.
The board minutes
I
would
think
be
it'll be
different.
better for the public too, that when they're using, not jump from one system to one department. to
Right,
another.
because they all should act differently.
It's all the same.
Now, the board minutes you could do however you wanted, because board minutes don't tie into your transfer books or your deeds or anything like that, so. But I really liked Pat's product. I know they're more expensive. But I sometimes feel that you get what you pay for when it comes to certain things, and just from the people that have utilized them, people are happy with them. I think people are happy with ArcaSearch too, but I think COT has a better product.
As far as being user friendly.
I think so. I think they just do a better job, and that's just personal opinion. I mean, there's probably other people that feel the exact opposite. So, and I'm totally fine with you guys if you wanna think about this some more, wait to talk to the reporter.
I think
There are
it's
a couple
important you guys
questions.
Both use the same software.
But,
Yeah.
I think it's important you guys,
I do
whatever
too.
one you decide, I think you guys need to agree on which one to pursue.
and I mean, I really feel that, I mean, I know it's a project, two separate offices, two separate elected officials. But to me, I'd rather let the recorder be the one that's comfortable with it, because she's got a lot more going on than I do. I mean, we're just, we are talking about board minutes, but we're also talking about transfer books, and the transfer books tie into her stuff. They work with her stuff, so I'm okay with using whatever vendor she feels most
Well,
comfortable with.
yeah, I would have no problem with table this for a week. Because
We definitely need
I
to
have
hear
a
from
question
that.
about this 50-70% on COD and then.
Yeah.
I've got questions on
some
that. I've
questions.
got questions on color, and then this is just I was looking through hers, and you might be able to answer this, maybe not. But why is the date range only to 1992?
Because that's part of the project. They're going from a certain year,
To
A certain year.
1992,
which is probably ties into the 50 to
so
70%.
7%. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens to 1992? They're already on there?
Well, they would be
I-
scanning documents.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
think
do
that's
think we
why-
table this and have Ashton on for next week
Yeah.
too.
But you're talking the year, that's through the reports. I think with that document or that fund she has, they've been probably scanning everything from that point forward, I think. That was I want to get that clarified too.
So that's the percentage, right? 50-70% where.
That could be
where
part of where
ARCA
that's coming from. I don't
Yeah,
know.
where ARCA is saying they'll do 100%.
So they would take it all the way up to,
To where we've been
Last
doing
week.
it now.
or
Well,
whatever.
yeah, or how far back?
Yeah.
You know, how far back are they gonna go? Since the beginning of time? Are they gonna start, are they gonna scan those as opposed to, are we gonna have to pay COT more? If we want 100%? They talk about 50-70%.
That's what I'd like to get some clarification.
Yeah,
I'm in favor of the projects,
Hold on.
but I just need to get some clarification.
Wait, when you say you're good till the 24th,
My quote is, hers is good
so
longer,
that through the 24th, then we assume,
right? And I
Okay.
think that
but that is Monday.
if you guys chose them, I think I could probably make sure that that price stayed the same.
Okay.
But I don't want to say for sure, but
Well, I
if
would
we're gonna
know
be spending
that
a
it
lot
was
of money with them, they
10%
probably not gonna
fee
adjust
just
it up.
because we.
But if
Yeah,
we're gonna
I don't
talk
wanna
about
rush
it
into
next,
it.
But I also
either.
don't want to pay double this price if it's only 50%.
Mhm.
yeah, so let's we could certainly do it. It's through the 20, double check there. Yeah, but this pricing is valid through 1/24, so that would be next
Monday.
Monday.
how long have you had that?
Mine, I just got it.
January 5th, I think so.
This is dated October. I have not had this since October because the recorder wanted a quote from him too. So mine was done and has been done. And he
You
brought,
don't know what her deadline is, do you?
yeah, it'd be on the quote from Todd. So she got hers on the 5th of January. So,
I think hers is 4/7. It's good through April 7th.
so I feel like I kind of, because I didn't even get mine because he was working on that one and he wanted to come in and,
Well, geez, I would
Which-
think they both be good.
I would say they would both be good.
Yeah. like I said, there might be some
Might be a package
negotiations there
deal.
we could make. But I wish I knew more about the quote on the recorder side. I don't feel comfortable answering those. 'Cause,
Did you discuss about a package deal? Doing both?
I think this is the package deal.
Well, why don't we put it on next week's agenda and Ashley can come answer some questions and
Maybe we'll have to do like we do with Zach, send you back, tell him this is what we're doing.
The only problem is right now is counties have available COVID dollars to spend.
So they're busy.
and they're super busy.
I'll
They
bet
have,
they're swamped.
you know, normally they may fight for your business a little bit if they was normal times, but now I think it's just kind of,
This is what it is.
yeah.
They
And
may
I think
have
that's
that
with
right here,
anything.
too.
Yeah, I think that's with anything. So,
Yeah.
do I think it seems a little high? Probably, but those records are ours forever. And the originals that they scan are ours. They can be stored on our server and they're ours. So,
Well, and you add them two up together, that's no sneezing money.
no.
Does IT have the memory available for all that?
I can't answer that. Not that I
or
can.
is it a scenario where it's actually stored somewhere else? in your
Yeah,
house?
it's cloud-based, so we don't have to do anything. That's why I like it. So we don't have
Makes
to
sense.
buy any bigger servers or SANs or anything. It's all cloud-based.
Thanks, Dalton.
Thank you.
Need a
Thanks,
motion
Dalton.
to table this, or if you want a motion, you want to just put it?
No,
table
just
it.
we'll table it and I'll put it on the agenda for next week.
All right. 9:45. Next item on the agenda is fiscal year 23 county health insurance rates. I think you guys all received the same packets after the same meeting as we did. Today, I'd like to decide, so Courtney can finalize more numbers on the budget, whether what we want to do with our insurance for the county.
Well, I'll start off. I think you guys all know that I've been kind of considering that we should go to 80-20 policy, and I think we should look hard at that. That's just one opinion of it. Rather than mess with the deductibles by dropping one or changing them completely around. I was thinking that 80-20 policy probably would be in order. But that's strictly one opinion.
No, you're not talking policy, you're talking about what the employee pays
Correct.
20%.
Correct.
15.
Instead of 15,
Leaving policies alone. That's what you're saying.
yeah,
I just want to
just
put it.
change the formula.
That the employee would pay more.
Yes. A little bit more.
What kind of percentage would that be if we went up? Would it be
We're paying 5% more than we pay now.
5%,
Because
I
they pay
guess.
15% now.
And I'll give you my opinion, why I came to that. I think that with the wages, the way we've looked at it, we're trying to mirror what's out in the public, because that's our competitor. So the employees should also expect what our competitors are doing out there also. And I think you'll find 80-20 policies everywhere. I just think we should try to match both sides of the equation. That's one of the only reasons that I'm chasing this.
I'm not opposed to that. I just don't want people to think they got a 5.5% raise because they're not apples to apples.
That's
It's not,
right.
yeah,
This
it's-
5%
It needs to be explained, the difference. of
is
what it
very, it is less dollars than what the 5% raise was. Yes, way less
This
dollars.
is 5% more of their current portion will pay, not 5% or more of their total wage.
Correct. Courtney, I'm also, do you know anything about prescription cards? I have that another question of mine.
I think our high deductible used to have a prescription
Right.
card. It does not anymore.
I'm gonna-
High and low deductible are treated the same.
I'm gonna call Clark and have him go through.
Yeah.
Do you want to join in on that call? No, thanks. I'm gonna call Clark and visit with him about that. I don't see that. as a
And
big deal, but-
we used to have one, but I don't think they
The high deductible.
do
did.
it anymore.
We don't, it was changed. And that wasn't a board decision.
Correct.
That it got changed. It was just something Walmart did.
Courtney, do you ballpark know how much the county pays every year to Walmart?
I'm sure it's over $1 million.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's a lot. I've looked it up before and I can do it again. It's not a big deal, but it's significant dollars.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna say is just having worked for the county since 2007, seems like if we do get a good raise, then something changes with the insurance and it gobbles up your raise. And I can remember back when I started, I believe the union employees paid 15% and the regular employees paid 10% or 10%, right? Yeah.
You're right.
Less. And then all of a sudden now everybody's paying 15%. And in those years, the union employees received maybe more in the way of wages. I don't know. But it sure seemed like whenever we got a good raise, it's like the insurance went up. And I hate to see, because everybody's getting a very good raise this year. I hate to see it get gobbled up by the insurance going up, because then you don't utilize that. I also understand that by taking 5% of the county's portion of what they're paying for health insurance, that helps offset some of the rates too. So I can see it both ways.
That's why I was wondering what we actually paid them, what a 5%
I can,
county cost reduction would be in dollars. Would it
I
be-
can look it up, but it'll take me just a minute to do that because
I think we need to put it in perspective, Rich. I'm not saying no
No,
by
no,
any
no,
means,
no.
but I think, I don't want the takeaway to be exactly what Courtney said. But yeah, they give us 5.5% raise, and then they're adding 5%. We're paying 5% more for it. And it's not like, say, if it was weighted, it's not weighted 5%.
I can't recall what I'm paying for my insurance. Right now.
And
Yeah,
I know
that
what you-
last check, that'll tell you right there.
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
the
I
first
just
one,
want
and
mine
it's the
with-
only, that would be the one you'd wanna.
That's
Look at
exactly, and
I didn't
I
think
never
about it
look
either.
at it.
You know,
You're
I
in the
think-
same boat I am as Aaron will on, but
I think it's important we always know that number
Mhm.
before can we push it back 1 week?
I don't have a problem with that.
Can we
So
also,
actually figure out what, I mean, we should have hard figures instead of just saying, let's take it from 15 to 20%.
Did I give you that number? I don't think I gave you the
I-
80-20 number, but I thought I gave you, because you said, how much do we pay?
Yeah.
Or was that Rich? I don't know. I get confused sometimes. I know I looked it up just not that
I think
long
it should be
ago.
more of an educated decision than actual numbers versus a perception.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I know where you're coming from, Rich. Trying to get back to somewhat even keel with the public sector. And I know that counties are all over the board for whatever the employees pay. I know some close by here still got zero, they pay the whole thing. But the other thing I'm gonna say is, right now, our health insurance pool is as high as it's ever been, I think. Am I correct?
The reserves?
Yeah.
They're up
The
there.
pool, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
and I think when he was here last week, my takeaway is that our employees are doing a good job utilizing the health insurance and not abusing it.
Mhm.
That's why our rates are static, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't think I want to penalize them neither when things are going good. You see what I'm saying?
Send the message that
Yeah.
we're gonna take more away from you now that you've been so
And-
good.
But and I understand there's a point in time we're gonna have to do this 20%. Because I was involved when we changed it the last time, and that does not go down well. I'm questioning, now is the right time to do it. With the way things are, the way the report we got last week, I think the employees are doing a good job. I don't want to disrupt that. No, I think they're not abusing the insurance.
no, I'm not implying that.
I know, but that's where I don't want
the rate is really, I mean, what the employees are doing is really good and applaud them for that. The only thing that I'm thinking of is that when we talk about this 80-20, I think it's a nice raise for the employees. I would hate to have to do it when Clark comes with bad news. and says, well, you're taking some hits now. That could be 2 years from now or 5 years from now or whenever. And then at that time, we're only giving them 2.5%. So it really does gobble up their increase, their raise or whatever. Right now we're looking at a nice, decent raise at 5.5. I personally thought would like to be seen a little bit better, but I don't know. I just have to think that maybe this is the time. It won't sting as much this time as it would when we have to.
On a 2% year.
Yeah, on a 2% year.
Clark alluded to the fact that the $20 copay that we pay, it should be
30.
30.
That was on
So
seeing a specialist though.
Yeah,
He
yes,
didn't say that
correct.
for-
that was a specialist.
And the telemedicine, if we use that, even though the employee still pays the $20, it costs our insurance company less. The way I understood them. saying.
I really, in my opinion, I really want to explore that option, the telehealth. And we've talked about this since I've been on the board about jumping up to the high deductible, the low deductible, but we keep pushing that off. We don't have that discussion. So I think I would love to see the numbers on what it would actually do for the county if we went away from the low deductible.
From the 750.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could email Clark and ask him, he could run the numbers on that.
and also know that number of the 5%.
Well, I
what it
think
would
if it's
actually
if it's
do.
$1 million, it's 50 grand that the county would save by pushing it off to the employees. And is that, you gotta pick your battles. Is that worth,
Is the 50,000 worth?
is it
of that?
worth it to the county to send a negative message to the employees for doing the right thing by being healthy? I don't know. That's why I think it would just be
Well-
black. It would be more black and white for the actual numbers.
And in this particular time in the way things are going, employee retainment is a big deal.
It is.
It is a big deal. Much more so than it used to be, and I understand that side of it.
I'm just trying to put it in weight. We have spent 125 grand on gravel,
I know.
which is needed, and then $50,000 that we might be pushing back to the employees to save the county 50,000.
So we can buy that.
Well, but it might send a mixed message. I don't know. I want to see the actual hard numbers.
All I know
I'm up
is
in the air.
When the board makes decisions on benefits, health insurance, you guys may not hear it from the employees, but I sure do.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that. That's part of my job. But the message, you send certain messages when you do certain things. Good or bad. Not everybody takes it that way, but
An unhappy workforce does not produce more.
yeah, I appreciate you guys thinking maybe we should look at the numbers, because if you do that and you get that out there of why you're doing it, then maybe that'll make more sense to people, rather than just saying, okay, we're just gonna switch. I can appreciate that.
And maybe this isn't a weak decision. Maybe this is something that we go past now. We form a committee, and next year at budget season, that's when we make the change. That way, everybody knows it's coming. If we decide to move that,
Didn't we
if
have
that
an insurance
committee,
committee when Mark was on the
Yeah,
board?
we did.
even if the insurance committee says that status quo is good, let's let it go, that's,
We have the wellness committee. Clark gave us an A+ on all the employee participation and the safety programs and the
Yeah.
wellness committee, or, Courtney, you might know the names of the committees, but is there a wellness and a safety?
There's a safety committee. We don't have a wellness committee.
Okay. I was thinking, I asked.
We
him, he said,
did, but it was
You use
not
up the
really.
full $1,000.
Well, I think that,
Oh, that is safety. It's up to
Okay.
1,000.
let's say the stop loss came as a result of the insurance committee at that time. I remember that.
Yeah.
That came out of the insurance committee. So,
my first reaction when I seen this is, and the stop loss being, you brought that up, is I think we should go to the 60. After I've sat in the office and thought about it quite a little bit, I think we need to leave status quo alone for right now. Let's go another year before we make that jump. I don't want to make that a knee-jerk reaction. We're in great shape in stop loss, but we go from eight
I don't take three
issues,
people.
and then we
More.
to three. And we know that that could easily, on 125 employees, that could easily happen,
And
Or a
I
heart-
think,
or-
I
or
think
a-
that,
Or a heart transplant can,
well, I think that
Blow that-
where
blow
we could
that.
really, that's a risky business, I think, changing that
Yep.
stop loss. I think.
Yep.
We've got more to lose on that than anything. That I would be told.
So could you reach out to Clark and just maybe ask for those numbers?
Mhm.
Did you guys want to table this?
I think so.
So
Yeah,
I think
I'll
we
ask-
need to
Yeah, I'll ask
put some
him,
time
Yeah.
and give it due diligence before we just
That's
make
it.
a decision.
I wanted to say $63,000, but and you said around 50.
I'm just guessing if it was $1 million.
Yeah, and for
yeah.
some reason, that 63 gives back. to me.
I got like, I think it was you that I talked to.
Yeah, well, you and I
And it
had a
was
conversation.
$40-some thousand.
To go to
48
80/20?
or 49. You asked how much money
Yeah,
it
we
would
talked
save.
about it. We had about 10 things we were talking about that
Yeah,
day.
So I'm gonna ask Clark what numbers we'd be looking at if we removed the 750 plan.
And then actually the different yearly premium would be nice, instead of just the 50,000, but what would it affect the family premium versus the single plan?
Well, we set the premiums.
But you're after what is gonna cost the county more
Or save.
if we drop or save, if we
Yeah,
drop
okay.
it. So
Yeah, how much money would the county save if they no longer offered the 750 plan? He should be able to give us a ballpark figure for that.
and
The
I don't
only
think that's
goofy
gonna be
thing
that big a
is
number myself.
You guys set the premiums,
That's about,
what we charge. If you look at Walmart's suggested rates and what our
We
rates
always had
are,
it.
they're significantly less because the counties never chose to go as high as sometimes they've recommended. So it's hard because he'll look at the rates and say, oh, you can save this much, but it might not be 100% accurate because those are our rates. So I may just send him our rates and have him calculate it that way. And hopefully he can get me a dollar amount.
because we were about $15, $20 difference between the 750 and the 1,500 at one time.
Yeah.
And we have
Man,
changed that 2 or 3 times.
We did
now.
last year.
We might be in that $45 to $60
Because
a month difference now.
last year we changed that. We went.
I think we did last year.
We've
The
done it
people
2
don't
years in a
say
Is
row.
it- it was
2 years
almost-
ago.
2 years in a row. that we've been
Yeah,
doing
we-
this.
exactly.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
made adjustments on that low
A
deductible.
couple of times already.
So I
Trying to
don't
get
know
that
that-
spread bigger. Let's get some numbers to really look at. I
Okay,
guess.
so I'm
Maybe
gonna-
That's a prudent thing to
Just so
do.
we're all on the same page. I'm gonna find out what amount we pay, like, I'll probably use fiscal 21 because we're not through the year yet. How much the employees pay and how much the county paid for insurance. Then you can factor in that 80/20 and you can use those numbers to figure out increase or what it's gonna cost. And then I'll email Clark for the numbers if we removed the 750 plan. And I'll email him our rates and he should be able to give us a pretty accurate number. And then we can talk about it hopefully next week because let's get our budget.
Yeah, we need, yeah, when we got the budget.
And I kind of told people that have been asking me after Clark was here that there's really probably not going to be much in the way of change. So if you've met with a department head, that's probably a kind of
That
a floating number
I've
yet.
told them
so.
all the same, whatever would happen this year is probably what to factor in.
Yeah, so we may need to make some adjustments on insurance if you've met with somebody already, so. All right,
Are you guys from the Manning Main Street? Okay, so we have them down at 10. We're gonna go ahead and jump down to number 7, so we don't hold them up. So Manning Main Street funding request. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Jean Beatty, and I am the executive director for the organization, so.
Who's your sidekick with you?
Oh,
Yeah, who's
him?
that guy?
I just picked him up along the way. He was thumbing his.
Needed a ride?
He was probably.
Something right.
He was probably at the
ride,
donut shop
Yeah.
waiting for somebody to buy him a donut.
I'm the history, so just in case there's a question, I can try to be. the
Boy, is
history.
that an understatement. You are the history. How's Harvey?
Just real good, Rich.
Great.
So, yeah, so good morning. Yes, as I said, my name is Jean Vagey. I'm the Executive Director for Main Street Manning. I've been in that position since June of 2019. Previous to that, in my former life, I was one of the nursing instructors at DMAC. So this is my first gig at the nonprofit world. So yeah, so we're here to request $2,500 in funding from the supervisors for the upcoming fiscal year. Been a couple of years since we came before you to talk about what we have done in our time as a Main Street community and request some funding from the supervisors. So I've tried to compile kind of some highlights of what our program has accomplished. Main Street has, or excuse me, Manning has been a Main Street community since 2009. And it's a competitive process that we needed to go through to earn that recognition. And we need to have periodic reports that we send to Main Street, Iowa, to kind of show what we've been accomplishing. So before I get into too much of what we've done, just a quick review on the mission of what we do is that we preserve and revitalize our historic downtown and to stimulate business, residential, and recreational growth through the coordinated efforts of volunteers, private businesses, local government, for the benefit of present and future generations. So basically, what that basically says is we're trying to make Manning a better place to be for people to live, a business environment, and we're not worried about just here and now. We're also worried about the future and what that holds for the community on down the road. So we're an entirely volunteer-driven organization, with the exception of me, as a part-time person who's paid at $25, or excuse me, 25 hours a week in that particular role. So we are under the auspices, if you will, of Main Street, Iowa, who's under Main Street America. So we're part of this broader network throughout the country in what we do and how we do it. So I'm assuming that you guys have maybe been to Manning over the years and have seen how the community has been transformed as far as our Main Street goes. 2012, we got a block grant to revitalize the downtown, redo the storefronts, and basically turn Main Street, the business appearance of Main Street, back into kind of what it looked like in the 1880s when the city was founded. We're on the National Historic Registry. 2015, we were named as the Small Community Business of the Year by the Small Business Administration. And if I remember right, that was the first time, Harvey, that award had been given. Yeah, so we got
History.
one of that. So it was pretty awesome. Also, since 2015, Main Street has really been revitalized as far as appearance goes. We have within our organization, we have what's called the Design Committee. In very simple words, the Design Committee makes Main Street look pretty. And if you have a pretty Main Street, you more than likely are able to draw people into Main Street, increase the amount of time they spend on Main Street. The more time they spend on Main Street, the more money they should spend in your businesses. So currently we have 11 solid bronze statues on our Main Street. Those have been entirely funded by donations from individuals and or organizations or families. We have new trash receptacles. We have new benches. And now starting in 2022, we have 6 new flower planters that will be installed. They're currently sitting in the city garage waiting for the spring weather to come. And so we have a very nice looking Main Street. People from, the community appreciate that. We've had lots of visitors from out of town. They're like, man, your community looks really nice. They're just really, we get lots and lots of positive feedback from that. So Main Street's a lot about partnerships and collaboration. We would not exist as an organization without our collaboration with the city of Manning. We would not exist without our partnerships with local businesses, without our partnerships with volunteers and various organizations within the community. A couple things to highlight on the second page. On the first 2 bullet points, talk about different projects that we've had that extend beyond Carroll County, that extend beyond Iowa into what I'm going to call international influence. And so Between 2015 and 2019, we were a host community for the Mandela Fellows from Africa. That's through a partnership with Drake University. Very simply, Drake University looked at what rural community can we take these individuals from who are leaders in their country and say, this is what you could make happen in your rural areas of Africa. And they chose Manning. And so for 4 consecutive years, they brought these folks to Manning for a day. We showed them around the community, talked about our economic development, took them to local farms, talked to them about volunteerism, which is a totally different thing for them. That's not part of their culture. And we haven't done it since 2020 or since 2019 because we know what happened in 2020 and 2021. I believe it was a virtual event. So, but that's so our influence of Manning is in Africa. Could that potentially develop some business relationships between Africa and Iowa? Potentially, we think that it could. Also in 2019, this is the only time we've hosted this group, but this is a group called IRIS, and they are from Iowa State University. It's an international program housed at Iowa State. And this particular group came from Belarus, which is a European country up in kind of like Northwest Europe by Latvia, those areas up there. But basically looking for the same sort of thing. What does business look like in the United States? What does business look like in Iowa? What does it look like in rural Iowa? What concepts can we take back to our home country? And they came to Iowa, came to Manning for 2 reasons. Number one, they knew the success we'd had with the Drake University program. And number two, the person who is the executive director of the IRIS program is a Manning graduate. And so he wanted the opportunity to kind of toot his own horn about his hometown. So then here comes Rolls 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. So here comes March, everything shuts down, businesses shut down, businesses are restricted. Well, as an organization, Main Street's focus is economic development, and we had a lot of our Main Street shut down. So what did we do about that? Well, we initiated what we called the Manning Cares Stronger Together gift card program. And very simply, what that looked like would be if you guys maybe were each business owners, and we could go to the business owner and say, this is what we're going to do. Would you like to be a participant in this? And we're going to sell gift cards for you for your business, et cetera. Okay. So Harvey, on the other hand, he was going to be a donor to that gift card program. So we were going to sell a gift card for, let's say, $20. He, as a sponsor, would kick in X amount of dollars. I'm going to say you spent $1,000. And that extra $1,000 then would go in that pot. So if I wanted to buy a gift card for your business at $20, because of the pot of money that Harvey kicked in, now I get $30 to spend at your business. So each of these things had a sponsor. This was wildly successful. I mean, wildly. We had sponsors coming out of the wall say, we want to donate, we want to donate, we want to donate. So at the end of the day, this ran for 13 rounds. And basically, when Harvey's $1,000 pot was depleted, because we spent money for the gift cards, then we had to kind of stop it for a while till we got more sponsors. And then that was around, if that makes sense. So we ran it between April 14th and May 18th for a total of 13 rounds. We sold 1,090 gift cards. And with the process of all that, we donated over $32,000 back into 30 businesses that were participating. We had 21 different sponsors, or 21 different Harveys of the world, that contributed money to this project. And the donations ranged anywhere from $100 to $1,000 for approximate sponsorship of $10,400, et cetera. So all that money got reinvested in the community. Businesses or organizations and individuals donated to the sponsorship, and public bought the cards. Public then got more bang for their buck, turned around and then sold that or got a gift card for those particular businesses. So as a result, partially, we'd like to think as partially as a result of that, we have had no business in Manning close as a result of the pandemic. And then the other piece that went with what Main Street did with that, we did 4 what we call drive-through style meals. We did one for Mother's Day, Father's Day, did a portable pancakes in the fall for National Pancake Day, and we did a harvest meal. So basically, we used the local businesses, local grocery stores, local restaurants to help us serve the meals, cook the meals. We reimbursed them for their cost. So that was not any extra money out of their pocket when they didn't have any money to spend. And it gave people in the community and surrounding area things to do when everybody was kind of on a lockdown. And those were very well received. All right, so looking at another contribution from Manning, basically when we started in 2009, the value of commercial, residential, and industrial properties within our Main Street district was $3,764,502. As of the most recent information on the assessor website, which was January 1st of a year ago, it's now $8,676,480, more than double what it had been in 2009. So that to me shows a significant reinvestment within our community and a contribution to the tax base within the county. 2021 was, I'm just going to say it was crazy on Main Street. We started the year with 5 previously vacant buildings that had been empty for a number of years. Now that we are at the beginning of 2022, those all 5 have been sold, purchased, new businesses or expanding businesses. And there's just one business right now that is open on Main Street, but the older tenant has not cleared their stuff out yet. So it's empty, but it's still owned by the insurance company, Home Mutual relocated. So their old location is currently not active, but their stuff is still there. So if somebody came to Manning right now and said, we want to open a business, show us an empty storefront, we don't have one, which is kind of a good problem to have. So each month as the executive director, I need to submit reports to Main Street, Iowa. And they track that for each Main Street community of what's been your contribution to the economic development of your community and to the state. And so within that time frame, you can see there the things that we've accomplished with new construction, remodeling, and renovation, 99 different projects since 2009 or 2009. Private money reinvested in the district, $3.1 million by local business owners have reinvested in their business. 3.1 million in the purchasing of buildings and empty properties. And as I said before, we're a volunteer-driven organization with the exception of me. And so since we started in 2019, we've had over 38,356 volunteer hours reported. And there's other hours that I know go unreported just because people don't submit them to me. But based on the most recent data from independentsector.org, with the value of that would be over $1 million. So there's no way that our organization could begin to pay employees to do that work. So our volunteers are really valuable assets to us. So with that, we are, like I said, we are requesting a funding of $2,500. Manning will benefit from that investment in our community. We get things done with resources that we have. So an investment in Main Street Manning will be an investment in Manning. It will be an investment in Carroll County itself, and it will be an investment potentially to other states and countries based on what we've done in the past. We've been very successful with our Main Street program. People from our community have served as mentors to the Main Street program in Jefferson, the one in Guthrie Center. We've had people from Glidden ask us about, how did you go about doing this? And people from Stanton, how did you go about doing this? So that's something that we don't physically necessarily measure, that we need to report to the state, but we know that that has been happening. From a standpoint of what does our environment look like from a county standpoint of Main Street programs getting funding? The closest one I can share with you is from Greene County, put $7,500 to the Main Street program in Jefferson. So that's a comparison.
Through the Grow Green,
Pardon me?
through the Grow Green, Jefferson. Community Foundation?
Yeah, I think so. I know if it goes through its Grow Green, I'm not sure exactly how it gets from point A to point B, but I know they get $7,500 as the Main Street program in Jefferson from the county.
From the county, so that could be the
Yeah,
supervisors.
Could be.
yeah. So how that path goes from get to point A to point B, that I'm not sure. But they do get $7,500 in funding from the county in some way, shape, or form.
No, just, if I may,
Yes, you may.
not all counties give 7,500 off this one. But there are several other counties through the state that do support the Main Street programs. I think that if you look at Manning and what they have done for the county economically, with the addition of the gas line project and telecommunications and support, working with Templeton, working with the other communities, Arcadia, et cetera. A lot of this has come possible because of our association with the state, getting in through the Main Street program to the Economic Development Agency, getting to know those people. Gene, you know that our gas line project probably would never have happened without the Main Street support, CADC support, county support. But all those partnerships have to work together. And hopefully the investment that you have done in the past for Manning has come back in spades. The increases is a very tangible and easy way for supervisors to be able to show where they gain something for the investment in economic development in Manning.
Well, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, what questions do you have for us?
I think you've explained yourself very well.
You know, and I'll just say it. I agree with you. You guys done an excellent job. When it comes to the county here, our position is we've only got so much money to deal with. And I think what we've kind of done, I guess, I'm being some longer here. It seems like some of these programs never end. And I think the board has kind of got the idea that at some point in time, some of these need to probably go on their own after a point, help them out, get started. You know, I'm not saying if there's other projects come up that we don't help, but I think you guys done an excellent job. And I think that's probably the only reason why we have it. It's on other sources, trying to help out other people too. You know, we only got so much money to help people. So.
And we haven't come and asked for anything the last few years.
And I'm not saying we're rejecting, but these all go through the pot, and when we get done, we shake out and see what we do. So.
Yeah, there is
you
no decision made today. We'll
Yeah.
take in consideration and then Courtney will put it on our spreadsheet. But I do appreciate you taking the time and
I'm just
explaining.
kinda asking the reason why it lasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys done, and you're right, the investments that are done on a joint deal, it's just like, we said, the gas line, county is very much involved in that, but to where we let the gas line locate. And we've had some issues since then, kind of that judgment, I think, but we're not regret. So, but
Yeah, I mean, there's always two sides to everything that happens, and hopefully the end result is a win for everybody. And that's kind of where we're coming here, is that through the COVID and stuff, it's put extra pressure on our program as well as everybody else.
too.
Yeah, and keeping that and keeping all the businesses open and supporting, well, Coon Rapids has been over talking to us a lot when they were doing their process. The buildings that were rehabbed up in Lorville. I mean, all of that came through the Main Street program in the state.
Well, and one of the other comments I was gonna say, this is impressive, that valuation.
Yeah.
But I want to play devil's advocate here. Some of that is due to state mandates that we jacked up the assessments too. It's not all through Main Street, because I know there's quite a difference.
Timing,
There's a very, a time there where we had a big increase just due to state valuation.
but the bigger thing is that when we've got all of our Main Street buildings full again, and actually,
That's a positive message.
Yes.
yeah, that's
It's just a visual driving through versus vacant storefronts.
And I'll tell you, I've been over there to different meetings, and one thing I gotta give Manning credit for. They have got youth involved. I've never seen that before, and I think you've been down to D too. I mean, you guys need to get the youth back involved. That's not the case all over.
Yeah, I was impressed. I came down for one of your brainstorming sessions that Iowa State was involved, that you had at the
VFW Hall, probably.
BFW Hall, and I was really impressed at exactly what Gene said, the young people that were there, and the input that they had, and I think it's great. I think, because that's what perpetuates what you're doing. I mean, that's the future.
Well, I think Harvey would say, get out of the way and let him do it. I mean, that's.
So the other question I have is there a specific need or anything for your ask?
Well, one of the things that we did in 2021 that I did not put on here was we had the opportunity to spread our message at the Iowa State Fair and the Clay County Fair and talk to, I couldn't even tell you how many hundreds of people between those two. And we're going to do both of those again in 2022. And what we kind of realized in doing it in 2021 is that we need to have probably better promotional materials to take out there. Because one of the things we got asked a lot was, well, where's Manning? And we didn't have like a big old map that said, here we are, and here's Carroll County. So those would be the things I would see as being potentially targeted this time, is so we can continue to share our message to the State Fair folks and the Clay County folks.
So when you go to I didn't go to Clay County Fair or the State Fair the last couple of years. What is your goal there? Is to get people to move to Carroll County or to Manning, or?
you've got to get them to look first. If you can just get them to come and look, that was one of the things that we always fought, trying to bring businesses in or anything else. The first thing was to get them past the city limit marker. If you could once get them past that city limit marker, we could sell it. We could sell Manning real quick, real easy. That's how we got the assisted living. That's how we got the people to buy the plaza on Main Street. It's simply getting the people to come and look. Now, I don't care if it's moving to Manning, if it's starting a business in Manning, if you're trying to get expansion of business. That's the first key that you have to do. You can talk to your blue in the face, but you got to physically do something to get them to come to the town. If you have to go drive them in, give them a ride, whatever, that's the key. And we've been fortunate enough that Carroll County is impressive enough that if you go through the smaller towns and the towns around Carroll County on your way here, there's a noticeable difference, and we want to keep that difference going. We as Manning cannot be successful if all of our neighbors are dumps. I mean, it doesn't work. We need to have that good visual atmosphere all the way to town.
Our initial big reason to was increase tourism. So we used some motel hotel tax money to generate some promotional materials that we could give away. We had businesses that contributed coupons, come to Manning, come to the business. buy a meal, get a half price, come stay, get 20% off of the hotel, come spend a day and come to the rec center for free. So those were some of the coupon things, incentives that we gave out with that. So we want to continue with that and coming up in this current year. And then also just kind of enhance our promotion materials for some of the handout materials that we give them.
Just an FYI, it's not really public, but the Charters of Freedom display that is going to be going up in the Willow Creek Park. We're getting that thing fully funded without any support. It is being donated, and it is tens of thousands of dollars. Again,
So you might want to tell a little bit, Harvey, what that is.
uh,
A little bit about what that freedom project is.
well, go on.
Time-wise.
Yeah, time-wise, we are working on it.
Okay.
Never mind.
And,
I'll explain to you.
he'll meet you out there after.
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't talk to you.
All right. Very good. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Do you want to step out with them, Rich?
Yeah.
Thank you, Harvey, and thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I'll take it back.
Thanks, Steve.
He needs another ride. Okay. Item number 5, fiscal year 22 substance abuse semi-annual report. I do want to say I don't want to be rude by cutting them off, but there's certain things that probably shouldn't be said currently.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right,
Half an hour's long.
Courtney, we do this annually,
Semi-annually.
semi-annually.
Yeah, it seems like we do it almost monthly.
It does seem like it comes up a lot. doesn't
I would
it?
agree.
Yeah, yeah, this is the semi-annual. I think that the problem is we do the semi-annual obviously twice a year, but then we approve like the one before the beginning of the year, and then you approve it at the end, so you do it
We
like,
approve the actual funding of it, and then
yeah, so it's like you mess with it 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
But this, I'm just looking for an approval for this report and then to authorize Emily Lowe to sign the report. Emily's gonna start signing this at, since Joanne's retired now, so.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
the only reason I'm voting for this is a report, not for the request for funding. That's my understanding.
All right. Can we go ahead and canvass the election now, Rich?
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 6, we're going to canvass drain 23 election.
This is gonna take a long time. There's a lot of votes.
Mhm.
There it is. So drain 23 had an option to elect District Number 2 representative. Dick Warnemont was on the ballot. He's currently already on the board, so he's running for re-election. We had a total of 3 votes cast on Saturday. So he is elected for a term of 3 years for Drainage District 23, District 2. And his term would begin today as soon as this is approved.
So we got all 3 votes,
He did
And-
receive all 3
and
votes.
he didn't even vote for himself.
Apparently not.
I'll make a motion to approve the canvas of drain 23.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? No call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm gonna pass this around for signatures.
Did you want to change that? Does this matter?
The order? No. Does it say chairman? Because
Yeah.
I'll just, if you're fine with it, I'll white it out. Yep. Behind Jean's name and type it behind yours. Got all the other little things.
I thought your name change was.
I
difficult.
changed that. I changed the dates and
While that's going around, I'm gonna go ahead and do the manure management annual updates. Pine Ridge Pork, Section 30, Roselle Township, had no changes. PI 287, Section 24, Glidden Township, used manure analysis. And that is it for those. We are up to committee reports.
I can start. Last Monday, I went to city council meeting. Tuesday, Dean and I met with home care for pre-budget. Then Rich and I met with the county attorney for pre-budget. Then Rich and I met with GIS for pre-budget. Wednesday was the executive board meeting for the Carroll County Solid Waste Landfill and the annual meeting. Thursday, Rich and I met for the IT budget review. I had a decategorization meeting also. And Friday, Gene and I met at Veterans Affairs. And Gene and I had a union discussion conference call with Renee. This week, tonight, we have the assessors meeting, and Wednesday afternoon and Thursday, I will be in Des Moines at ISAC. Questions?
Okay, I can go next. This week, beginning of the week, I did finish up the first round of reviews for the ISAC scholarships. I've gotten that done. We did do the pre-budget for the auditor on Thursday, Rich and I, and on Friday I did the vets. And this morning I did the comm center with Dean. And then on Friday, we also, as he said, we met and had a conference call with Renee in regard to unions. And this week, after this meeting, I have my last pre-budget to do, and that's with the sheriff with Stephanie. And then we conference board at 5:30. Tuesday is CADC. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I've got ISAC University, and Friday will be the Yes Center board meeting. And I'm not sure, I might have a conflict of interest, but our Saturday is also legislative forum. And one other thing I want to do is commend Scott for his work on that spreadsheet that we use in the compensation board. Christ's sakes, keep that on hand so we can use it again. That was good. So I want to commend you on that.
Thank you.
So, that should be it.
I can go next. Last Monday had a conservation board meeting. Chris Whitaker was there from Region 12 to go over the 5-year plan. I'll pass around the survey that was given to the employees, and then second is a survey that anyone can fill out. So this will go out. I think they're going to try to do it any way that you want to do it. I mean, if you want to go out to the conservation the education center out there and get one of these, you fill out a paper form. It's going to be online, so you can. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to put it on the Carroll County website as well.
So like through Survey Monkey or one of those?
Yeah, yep.
What are they trying to get at?
It's a 5-year plan.
Oh, okay.
So they ask questions, like about if you have, I'll pass this around, but it's, have you used Swan Lake in the last 3 months, in the last 4 months, in the last 6 months, in the last year? So you can go through that and see if you want to participate. I think it's all right. It's good to participate in that. I mean, it helps make those studies and 5-year plans more, you want to say, resilient. Then the Great Western Park dock railing quotes. They had, if you remember, there was a contribution by Warren Puck down there to put a floating dock out on the pond. And it was suggested that they put a railing around it for 2 reasons: keep the geese off of it, and second, to keep kids from falling in, help, and elderly people as well. Because it does move. And the quotes came in at $21,000 for railing. And I think everyone thought that was extremely high and that they're probably gonna go look locally. This is from the company that they got the dock from. So the second thing was the Swan Lake pump system, and the REC is running 3-phase past, I think it's Noble Avenue, on Noble Avenue, past the park on the east side. And so they plan to, or I think the original cost was $20,000 to bring it into the park. And I think they reduced it to 11,000. So when they are running that by the park on Noble, that buried line, then they'll also bring it into the park as well. Just the trail updates and funding, I think it was pretty brief. The fundraising is going very, very well. And there's a lot of participation there in the fundraising. The fees, I can pass those around if anyone's interested in those.
I'll look at it.
Okay. I think the only change they really made on these was the education center. They always had a $125 a day rate and $160 a day rate if alcohol is present. And they've gotten away from the alcohol thing simply because it has not been an issue or a problem. So you can have alcohol.
You can,
but they
also.
yeah, and they're not going to charge extra for it. They're just going to increase the rate to 150 for one of the rooms and 135 for the bison room. The bison room does not have a kitchenette in it. So that is something that they're actually considering, is putting a kitchenette in. But there's all the rates for this year. The board appointments were the same as last year. They stayed the same. And then just basically, Jason did a brief update on the budget, and he'll be coming to the board with that. So, okay, so then Tuesday was a big day for me in budget meetings, pre-budget meetings. I had the recorder, the treasurer, conservation, and home care aid. It's all on Tuesday. And then we had the comm center this morning. Which one am I forgetting? Oh. Yeah.
Assessor tonight.
Yeah, we got the conference board tonight. As far as last week also had Highway 30 Coalition meeting on Thursday. No real updates there. It's not construction season, so there's really nothing to report about any kind of construction going on with the DOT. You know, they're Adam is continuing to go out and secure dollars for the Snyder study. So that's moving along. That was probably the biggest thing. This week, we have the conference board meeting tonight. I have a Board of Health meeting on Thursday, and then have the North Raccoon River Watershed Management Annual Meeting out at Swan Lake Ed Center. That'll be, I don't know if you want to call it a super hybrid meeting or what, but what they're going to do is have it out there, but they're also going to have a main site at Kings Point, so that people don't want to come all the way down here can go there as well. So, and it'll be a Zoom meeting as well. So that's my week. That's it for me.
All right, I'll go next. Last week, I had the ambulance, treasurer, and recorder pre-budgets. answered a lot of phone calls and emails. And I did do a walk through the jail probably twice to look at the punch list. And then I also had a Leadership Iowa program down in Des Moines for the government session, and I was involved with the panel as far as being an elected official. This week, I have the sheriff's pre-budget, the conference board, daycare meeting, and then also ISAC. And I'm gonna try and make it to the legislative update. I also want to make you aware, everybody, I think, received a email from Adam Schweers in regards to the Rotary. Is it just you and I? Okay. Well, at some point, let's set a date so I can get back to him. That will work. Okay. And that is it.
Courtney, I agree, in this paper too.
Inbound.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, last week, Tuesday, GIS attorney, conservation. That was on Tuesday, pre-budgets. Thursday, IT, the auditor, and I had a Region 12, and I'll cover the Region 12 quick. We made one loan to a business in Guthrie County, Quinnebago Outdoors. They're going to provide some rental equipment to Lake Panorama boaters and residents. They're also going to have a storefront in Kenora that will handle some sporting equipment. Also, there was we moved a large chunk of money from EDA 2, was moved to EDA 3. The reason we did that is we had no activity as the interest rates were higher. EDA 3 is a lower interest rate, and it also Davis-Bacon does not apply in that loan fund, so that opens up a little more windows for us. The executive board meeting we also held on Thursday. The quick highlights, the land purchase that the region bought just west of the building. We are working with the current farming community to cash rent that out again. We also been speaking with JEO about getting some water drainage, and that was the reason we bought it, is to get some drainage and improve the driveway on the west side of the building, as these new buses are getting a little tight. We have to drive across the lawn to get them out. We're down to 26 transit drivers. We are currently looking for one in the Coon Rapids area, and that should bring us back up to 27. That's where we need to be. There are some new entry-level driving regulations that will go into effect February 7th. And it's for Class B to Class A, and CDLs for bus passengers, hazardous material. And they will be doing the training out there for the employees. So we will not have to be sending them someplace else. We have Molly Manuel has left the COG. She's been with them about, I believe they said 8 years. She's going to the city of Grimes, and it was $10,000 more a year for the similar job. So that opening will be filled as quickly as we can find someone. There'll be 2 rehab houses for each member county that we are looking at trying to push forward. There will also be one house for each associate member, which we have several associate members, and we will try to get some housing done for them. That's pretty much the highlights from Region 12. And that was my week last week. This upcoming week, conference board tonight. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we have CAVC. Wednesday, I have an Iowa workforce Zoom in the morning. And then we'll be going to ISAC for later in the afternoon. Maybe doing that Zoom on the road. And then Thursday, I'll still be at ISAC, and that is it for me for the last this week.
Courtney? For next week, other than the two things you tabled, and it's a bill day.
How are we looking on the projects?
I've heard from the hospital. Still waiting for remaining daycare to reschedule. Libraries,
If they show up.
Have you sent a request to the hospital?
they've all gotten them back in November.
Dean passes around.
Ben or Dalton, is there any comments online?
Emails about releasing.
I don't see any.
Thanks, sir. We'll just after. Okay, thank you.
Spreadsheet. Fill it out.
Just
And then order for a motion.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Thank you.
I will second.
Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman.
Print it out.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.